Hi, my name is Ariel, and I am here the night of the Aquarius new moon to try and make a video that I've been trying to make for a long time. So usually what happens is I have the intention to come here on my channel and to vulnerably expose to you my truth in the hopes that it will help somebody, in the hopes that it will give somebody else hope, and in that process hoping to just connect with others and in turn heal myself. And like time and time again, I have not been able to come on here and just like actually tell people what's been going on with me. You know, all 14 of my subscribers, thank you. I appreciate you. But it's just like time, because I guess because I'm choosing it's time, and there's a reality that I'm tired of getting dragged into. I'm very tired of feeling disempowered by something that happened in the past. There we go again. So hard, so hard. I'm gonna move this. And yeah, I guess like another aspect is like I am trying to protect myself. I understand that I don't have to come on here and share anything. But there's a part of me that needs to, or I wouldn't be here. Yeah, there's that. Okay, so some of you know me on a personal level. My name is Ariel. I am 32 years old. I joined the military when I was 19. I was in for 11 years as a linguist. This is pretty much not super relevant exactly to this story, but I just want to say, just as background, like, life has in general not been super easy. But in that, I've always just had this determination to make it better. And that's come out in some very interesting ways, some very interesting coping mechanisms. Maybe being a perfectionist, somebody who tries really hard to get things right. And there's absolutely nothing more upsetting to me than when I try and I try and I try, and sometimes I feel like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I'm not saying that you should stop trying or anything like that. I'm just saying that sometimes there are situations and circumstances in your life that's just like, despite your best effort, things don't go to plan. And I know it's like extremely upsetting. I'm making these videos because of how upsetting it is. But I don't want to be stuck in that pain body, that emotional body. I believe it has a right to be expressed. But I'm here to flip the energy, no matter how painful or heavy it is sometimes. I don't want to like marinate in these hurt feelings, even though I have spent a lot of time marinating in these hurt feelings, and I'm not at all judging you if that is what you're doing right now. It's like a necessary part of the process, but I like am refusing to be sucked back into my depression again. And it has been creeping up. It has been creeping up. And I think I can say that one thing it does for me is that when it starts to creep up, when I start to feel that hopelessness, I'm pretty much willing to try anything to fix it, to flip the narrative, to flip the script, out of this desperation to not feel this dark feeling anymore. So this is really hard for me to talk about. I feel by in some way saying it, it's almost like it's going to like solidify a reality that I don't want to be solidified. That is part of my fear of saying it. And some of you might understand that. It's kind of a little bit of a metaphysical principle, but at the same time, there's something inside of me that is just like unable to let go of my pain. And I really need to figure that out. Because I don't want pain to be an excuse or a personality or an identity. I don't want that for myself. I've seen that in my family. Pain is an identity. I've seen it in myself. You've probably seen it. You've probably recognized it in people. Like anytime there's those people where sometimes you try to express to them, like maybe you're not having a good day, and they'll try to one-up you like, you're not having a good day? Well, listen to like X, Y, and Z about like why I'm not having a good day. That's been coming up a lot recently. I've been hearing it from other people in like circumstances. And anytime it comes up, I feel compelled to tell that person. I know it's like irritating to talk to somebody who feels like they're always trying to one-up you when you're trying to like be vulnerable and honest and like connect with them. But the reason that it's coming out like that is because, not because that person doesn't care about you. That's what I want to say. I'm going to generalize that. But it's because that person is using pain as an identity. So in the world that they're operating in, it is not really acceptable for somebody else to be experiencing more pain than them. You know what I mean? Like it almost crushes them, like they feel like they don't exist. And I don't know why that's coming out right now, because that is literally not what this video is supposed to be about. But this always happens. I turn on the video, I never know what in the heck I'm going to talk about. But essentially, I just want to say that I've been carrying this pain around, and I do want to get very specific about it. I've been avoiding getting specific about it because it's hard to talk about. And I'm also a little bit afraid by being specific about it. I'm a little bit concerned about the type of audience that I'm going to bring into this channel, because like I said, I feel for you and I feel for your pain. And I understand because I'm also experiencing it. But I do not want to hang out in that pain identity. And it is my intention, by sharing personal pieces of my story, not to garner sympathy from anybody, but to connect with the parts of you that are also suffering, and to extend to you hope that there are better days, even when you feel like you're never going to have a better day again, even if you feel like whatever it is you're going through is completely permanent. And I know that it is difficult. I know there's so many excuses your mind wants to create when you hear somebody say that, because you're like, well, I don't know what that person's going through, but I can tell you that what I'm experiencing is permanent and it is difficult. And I don't see anything changing. I want you to realize like that is a perception that you are choosing to live in at this time. And I'm not attaching any morality to you choosing to live in that right now. I really want to empower you by letting you know it's a choice. And I'm not coming at you from a position of I've really got this figured out, because I'm telling myself this by telling you this, and I do this in my videos. I am reinforcing ideas to myself by telling them to you. And I no longer want to be a victim of circumstance. I want to believe that it is possible for me to flip script, no matter how embedded in my reality it feels at times. And I know there's this illusion that happens because I've witnessed it, and it is so weird. But like I said, there are good days and bad days. And for some reason, a part of my reality and my existence is that when I'm having good days, it's really, really difficult for me to even comprehend how I had a bad day. And when I'm having a bad day, it's impossible for me to remember that I once had a good day. Like I have amnesia in whatever mood that I am experiencing. And it becomes incredibly important, especially like things like voice notes and things like this video are incredibly important for me to make, because when I'm having a bad day, there's evidence that I've had good days, and I can't let my mind lie to me that I've never had a good day. And when I'm having a good day and I don't understand why I was ever having a problem, there's the evidence that that exists too, if I want to look into that, which I usually don't. But yeah, so there's that. So yeah, like I said, I felt hesitant about being very specific because I'm a little bit concerned about the energy that I'm bringing in, but this is why I have taken literally 11 minutes to not get to the point of this video, is because I just wanted to make sure there was like full disclosure for the reason that I am deciding to talk about this. In it, once again, narrating, I'm trying to flip energy on something. I'm trying to flip this energy, not just for myself, but for other people that are struggling. And I know that when I was having the time that I was having last summer, that I would have clung to life for a video that was like this. And I'm also so grateful to the YouTubers that I have found along my way that do open up vulnerably, and that do try to share hope and positivity with people. It's like really important for people that are going through a dark time. So in that, I just wanted to say, I was in the military for 11 years. I pretty much felt resistant while I was there, that I was there the whole time. I had like a really interesting relationship with it. Like I said, I was a perfectionist, so I wanted to do well. But also, like, I knew myself on the inside, and I knew what I brought to the table, and I knew that I was trying to make myself fit into an environment and like excel in an environment that wasn't inherently for me or for my gifts. If you've seen any of my videos, you will know by now that I am a very sensitive person. My beliefs have always been fluid, always have been open. But being in the military for 11 years, I want to say, turned me into like Hermione Granger, where I was like, I have learned how to use my mind and logic, and I'm rooted into this. And after experiencing a trauma approximately 2.5 years ago and having an extremely dark year, I found myself last summer so depressed that I just didn't want to be here anymore, because I felt like there was just no hope. I had something that happened to my physical body, which I've always taken my physical body and my health really seriously. And when this thing happened, it affected my self-image, function, and then like from time to time I have like pain that there's just not really anything I feel like I can do about when I'm experiencing it. And this was really hard because, like I said, I kind of endured the military to build a better life for myself, because like I said, life was not easy. And I feel like there's this part of my personality that exists where I recognize my ability to endure situations if I think that it's going to somehow allow me to come up on top in the end. And I've essentially just been trying to create stability for myself so that I would have this time in my life that I have right now to heal. But I didn't realize that when I had intended this time in my, not just to heal, but to self-explore, to really self-actualize, to use my gifts, to travel, to do the things that I want to do in life, right? That are fulfilling, connecting with people that get me on a deep level, you know what I mean? Like, and when you continue to not be yourself or put yourself in environments where you don't belong, you're not really going to make those connections. It's just kind of unlikely, especially if you put on a very thick mask, which is something that I had eventually prided myself on doing. I'm like, I can shapeshift and make myself fit into any environment. I can turn off my whole heart. I can turn off everything that I feel is inherently me in a moment to survive. You know, I felt like I could do that. I fragmented myself because I thought I needed to out of survival. And this is really funny. Like, if you follow astrology, I'm a Pisces moon. That is a water sign. I like to put the zodiac in kind of like a familial setting. So out of the water signs, I will always designate one as the like mother figure, the father figure, and the child figure. So to me, a Pisces, that is like the child of the water sign. You know what I mean? So like, I'm very, very sensitive, naturally crying when I'm happy or sad. You know what I mean? And I just remember the time in my life, like the specific moment when I was in the military. I became an instructor, and it was very embarrassing for me to have to go hide in the bathroom when I felt like overwhelmed and upset because I had to cry and I just like couldn't control it. Like eventually I got to the point where I could turn that off. I could like suck my tears back into my eyeballs, and I could carry on with my day and maybe process that later at like a more appropriate time. I remember just feeling so proud of that. But anyway, once again, I hope everyone's enjoying all these side quests that I'm going on, but it's still not the point of the story. So I was preparing to get out. This was about 2.5 years before I actually got out. No, it was a year. It was a year before I actually got out. So I hate talking about the details of this. Sometimes I wonder if it's even necessary. I don't know. I don't know if I'll post this. But it's important for me to be able to say this, even if I don't post this. Being like a diehard perfectionist and somebody who was all about self-improvement, there were various like medical things that I was trying to figure out. Like I was diagnosed with sleep apnea. I had gained a lot of weight like during the last couple years of my time in like, and now I totally know why. Like it's just gaining weight is just you trying to put a barrier between you and the outside world, right? Like spiritually, that's what that is. And I was struggling. I was having a hard time. I didn't really feel safe in a lot of environments that I was in. I didn't really feel safe. I was stressed out, not sleeping well. I had severe anxiety that I just had kind of raw dogged like my whole life, but like specifically like 11 years in the military, like I didn't start taking like anxiety medication until my last year in. And once I did, I was like, how did I ever do this? And I want to tell you, like, even though I have had anxiety forever, things make it worse, obviously, military, things like that. But there's this thing that happens where your body actually burns out of the chemicals that keep you feeling safe and okay. And as time was going on and I was kind of like a magnet for like traumatic events, I just kept experiencing more and more traumatic events and getting older, and just was not able to recover between events. And my body was burning out of its ability to cope. If there's so many times like I just couldn't sleep, like I had chronic like insomnia, just up all night, stressed out all the time. I'm hunching over as I say this because like I can feel it. And anyway, like one of the things that I did to try to improve my health was to see an ear, nose, and throat doctor. I had been told that I had a deviated septum. And this is where things get interesting, because I've been all over the internet at this point. I've been all over Reddit. There are a lot of people, specifically teenagers, posting lots of pictures of their faces, very close up, trying to find any asymmetry, especially in their nose. People are really fixated on their nose, and I am not excluded from this. And they're like, oh my God, there's like an asymmetry, like, is my septum deviated? Does it need to be fixed? And like, I have been out there like what do they call this? Like a keyboard warrior? Yeah, I have been like a keyboard warrior. And I'm like, oh my God, like, no, sorry if that was annoying, but you can't see your septum from the outside of your nose. It's internal. Like, you know what I mean? So I have had doctors, piercers, probably randoms, tell me that they thought my septum was deviated. And I was like, oh my God, there's something wrong with me. And this is like reinforcing some like very deep subconscious beliefs I have about myself, constantly needing to improve myself because there's something wrong with me. And I wanted to make sure that if I needed something like a surgery, that I had that done before I left the military, obviously, because I wasn't sure what my medical insurance situation was going to look like after that. So I went into an ENT, an ear, nose, and throat doctor, and she had confirmed, yes, your septum is deviated. And that wasn't a surprise. I was like, okay, well, I'm pretty sure it's a simple procedure, so we'll just straighten it out. Honestly, at the time, like, I didn't even know the details of what actually like a septoplasty is. Now that I know, I think if I had known, like, I never would have done it. And that's probably part of the reason that I didn't look too much into it, is just because I'm not, although I'm 32 years old, I'm not like, I'm not new to surgeries. I've had 2 life-saving surgeries in my life, and it's exactly what it sounded like, where they were emergency surgeries. One was when I was pretty young, like, I don't know, like maybe 15 or something like that. So in my history books of my lifetime, doctors were there to help me and to make me better because they've saved my life on several occasions. So I wasn't really going to doubt or dispute any of this. And like I said, it was pretty much something I had been looking to confirm. Also, one of my old roommates had a septoplasty too, so like it was already in the realm of a comfort zone of something I was pretty sure I needed and that I was going to get to help improve my life. And like the symptoms that I was experiencing were like congestion, like breathing and things like that. Looking back on the fact that I had lived 30 years without it being a major problem, I feel like at the time I was probably more severely dealing with anxiety and allergies. And it's just a tendency to think that there's something wrong. Like, that's what anxiety does. It makes you think that there's something wrong, even when things are probably okay, mostly in your head. I'm not saying everything was in my head, because obviously she had diagnosed like that. I had a deviated septum. When I was in that consultation, she was like, yeah, and also, like, you have very narrow nostrils, so we could put some cartilage on the outside of your nose to, like, widen your nostrils so you can breathe better. And I was like, absolutely not. I was like, I was like, I'm pretty sure that I already struggle with, like, body dysmorphic tendencies, and also just being very critical of myself, and also just inherently feeling like within my belief system, I wasn't going to purposely do anything to alter the structure of my face. Like, that was just like a no. That was kind of one of those situations where you're like, I already have this kind of weird self-critical thing. Like, I don't want to open that door because I don't know what's going to happen. And I want you to cue like Michael Jackson, like people who have issues mentally in their head, who think they need to physically fix them, and the issues just keep getting worse. It's like this thread of a sweater that you keep pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling until there's nothing left. Like, I, in no ability in my mind would I have been on board for that. I said, I like my nose the way it is. I know it's not perfect. I know I have tiny nostrils. I know it's crooked, whatever. It's fine. It looks just like my grandma's. I've got a billion photos over my lifetime. This is the way it is. It's what it took me a while to get comfortable with, and now I'm comfortable with it, and I cannot have that changed. And she was like, okay, well, we won't do that then. And I was confirming with the scheduler who I was texting with, when I scheduled the procedure, I had said that again. I had said just the septoplasty. This is like these words, they kind of haunt me. Just the septoplasty. Like, it's something that I hear like when things get really quiet. Because what happened when I got the procedure that day is that, I'm actually not sure what happened, but I think you can tell where this is going. Like, something went really wrong during that surgery. And I know you're probably looking at me right now and you're like, she looks fine. And then I know other people are probably going to look at some of my other videos and be like, no, it's a little messed up. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm not here for that opinion. I have enough of my own opinions to deal with, obviously. But anyway, something was seriously messed up when I got out of that surgery. When I got out of that surgery, one of my nostrils was double the size of the other. And you might not be able to tell from this angle right now, but that is still the case. It is still the case. One of my nostrils is literally double the size of the other. And that is really embarrassing and like vulnerable for me to admit. I'm glad I have the type of nose where you can't really see my nostrils straight on. You would have to be looking from like literally this base view in order to see it. And maybe you get nitpicky about my videos and you point it out. I hope you don't do that, because it is actually triggering for me to make YouTube videos in general, even though making YouTube videos is something I've wanted to do for a long time. I'm pushing myself to do it because I'm not going to let that self-critical voice stop me from doing the things that I want to do. But sometimes it is hard for me to post these videos. It is hard for me to do this sometimes. But there's the other side where I really enjoy doing this because I know I'm going to connect with somebody and I know I have things to share, so I keep doing it. But yeah, something went really wrong, and it took me a while to figure out because, well, something was like visibly wrong. It was very obvious. But the reason it took me a while to figure out is because the surgeon, when confronted, lied to me, right? Or gaslit me. Tried to make me think that I look the same. And meanwhile, like, I've got people who've seen my face my whole life, and they're like, especially my mom. I actually took my mom into one of those appointments. I thought she was going to lose her mind. Because the surgeon changed something without my consent. She performed the surgeries that I declined. She put cartilage on the outside of my nose. She made my nose wider. She did some weird stuff. She had removed a piece of cartilage. My dog's snoring. She had removed a piece of cartilage just from one side of my nostril, I guess. And if you're a person who had a septoplasty and maybe something similar-ish happened to you, because I know, because it's on Reddit, like this is literally happening to people where people just go in for a septoplasty and the doctors are performing procedures, additional procedures that the patient didn't sign off on. But this stuff is very difficult to prove, especially if you don't know the ins and outs of procedure or like the medical terminology, or you have a tendency to gaslight yourself and trust medical professionals. And the statute of limitations on this stuff is like 2 years. And mind you, anytime you have any nose procedure, it takes at least a year. They say at least a year for all this tissues to stabilize, but honestly, like it takes longer. So I was giving it ample time for it to figure its situation out. And I did a lot of research. Not immediately, because of the stress of getting out of the military. I had to push this out of my mind. But once I got out, life got incredibly still. And I had time to get very obsessive about this, which is why I know so much, which is like maybe helpful, but maybe not, you know? I even at one point thought about becoming an ENT just because I really wanted to get to the bottom line and figure out the truth of what happened. I'm going to tell you, one, she just wasn't a very experienced surgeon. That sucks. That sucks to find out after a surgery, honestly. Not a lot you can do about that. But I was very clear about what I did and didn't want. So I'm not going to take responsibility for that. And like I said, I don't know. Ultimately, I don't know. I don't know if she was busy. I don't know if she was like, yeah, she said she didn't want this, but I'm a surgeon and I know what I'm doing and I know what's best, like God complex. I really have no idea. I do know that the result of what has happened has put me in a tremendous amount of pain. Like I mentioned, I have physical pain from where these grafts were inserted. She didn't do a very good job. I have pieces of cartilage that will move around my nose. The reason that she did put the cartilage in there was to prevent a nasal valve collapse. So it's like when you breathe in, if your nostrils kind of close together, like that's nasal valve collapse. It didn't even fix that. I feel like it made it worse because, like I said, she made one nostril big and like one nostril small, and the side that is like small, it just, I feel the difference now. Well, before I had two narrow nostrils and I feel like the airflow was the same. And I don't, like I said, I don't feel like it's good for me to get into all these details. The only reason am getting like this far into depth is because like, I know there's people out there. I know there's people out there that are going through something like this, maybe not the exact same thing. But yeah, I just want to say like, my rights are violated, and I feel this, like I just feel this so much in my heart. Like this just really messed me up. It really, really, really messed me up. It messed me up mentally. affected parts of me that were already hurting and created new stuff. And I've posted pictures of my whole situation before and after and stuff on Reddit. And people who see that photo are like, I'd get that fixed. Because that ain't right, right? And I'm like, if you think that I feel comfortable getting another surgery after this, you're crazy. And I'm not going to say that that's not ever going to happen, but my trust has been like shattered. So anybody that could potentially help me fix these like functional and aesthetic issues and maybe possibly the pain, I don't know. I'm pretty much not open to that right now. I don't know when I will be, because all I've been doing for the past 2.5 years since this incident is try to keep myself safe, because it has affected me so much that I just haven't been able to do the things in life that I wanted to do. And it's getting to the point where obviously this is not the reality I want to live in for the rest of my life. So it caused me to become a very deeply spiritual person, to believe in something other than this physical reality that we see. And I've had a lot of experiences since. And I know, like, if I went through detail explaining the like experiences I've had since, like, people would probably be like, yeah, you've had like a hard time, and you probably had like a psychotic event or something like that. But everything is the reality that you choose to frame it in, and I think that is the important thing. I think that is the important thing about the message that I want to put out, is I am really doing some very deep work to heal some inner wounds that existed before this trauma. Wounds that have been triggered by this trauma, right? Like, I'm doing a deep dive. And whenever I do these deep dives, I come to the surface and I present whatever information it is that I have that I think would be helpful to other people. And it is like in this ability to be reflective and introspective that I hope I can be of service to you. And it's the only reason that I share this story, which I feel very hesitant about putting out on the internet. I could tell you a lot about a lot of things at this point, honestly. Things specifically related to the surgery, things related to the idea of symmetry in the human body, things related to spirituality, things related to psychology. But in moments where things feel impossible, like you're never going to escape your physical reality, you're never going to escape the physical pain you're in, you're never going to escape the way that your body is limited, you're never going to escape the fact that your self-image is like cracked. I want to say that it's possible that you can. You just have to choose to. And I am nowhere near done with this work that I am doing. And it is hard. It is hard. And there's so many times where I've been like, why me? And I don't want to do this anymore. And I'm tired. And I didn't deserve this. But I'm still here. And I like to think that is for a reason. Even if this reason is just to connect with you, whoever is watching this video. And if you're going through something like this, I just want to say that I'm so sorry. And that you didn't deserve this. And that you deserve better. And you did not make any conscious choice to make yourself a victim of circumstance. It is not your fault. You cannot change the past. But you can focus on the present. You can make your future better. And you can learn whatever lessons the situation brought about, because that is really the point and purpose of these difficult to process situations, according to my spiritual beliefs. And I don't want to impose anything on you. But that is how I am coping with a difficult situation, by believing that there is a reason for it, and that I'm going to unwrap this lesson. And once I do fully unwrap and process this lesson in whatever ways it is connected to me, my ancestral lineage, my psychology, whatever my purpose is here on this earth, once I unwrap and unravel and heal and love those parts of me that have been shattered and scattered across the universe, I will finally be able to close this chapter. And I think that's all I'm going to say about this tonight. I don't know how I end up talking for 40 minutes when it feels like literally 5 seconds. But if you made it to the end of this video, I just want to say, I am here for you. I plan on continuing to make YouTube videos. They're not going to be specifically about my trauma, because I'm not trying to relive it over and over again. But however, I am here to provide support and insight that I've learned from this traumatic event and other events in my life. In whatever ways feel helpful. I've gone on plant medicine retreats. I've gotten into channeling and reading tarot and using the moon as a reflective tool to help me process this trauma, as well as a bunch of other things. So I would just like to present whatever it is that I'm working on, working through, or information that I have for you within my videos. Sometimes things are hard, but I believe it's possible to persevere and to turn negative situations into positive situations, and to transmute the pain that you feel into power. And I've probably repeated myself a million times, but I literally just would not be here making this video if I did not believe that to be the case. So whatever you're going through, we're gonna get through this together. Thank you so much for watching this video.